A warm welcome, everyone. I am Rudra, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering specializing in coastal management, and I welcome you to my channel Rudra Civil Engineering. Whether you are a student or an aspiring civil engineer or someone curious about how engineering meets the environment, you are in a right place. What this channel is all about. This channel is dedicated to sharing knowledge in civil engineering with a special focus on coastal zone management, environmental impact assessment, and civil engineering subjects which are related to both BE and ME students. And here we will discuss about few project guidance for engineering student. I believe in making a complex technical topics simple and relatable, especially for young engineers and learners. Why I started this channel? After teaching and guiding students, I have noticed that many students struggle to find a clear subject specific video content, especially in many areas of civil engineering. That inspired me to create this platform to explain real-time case studies, research-based insights, and software-based tutorials to bridge a gap between classrooms and the field. Who is this channel for? This is for BTech students of civil engineering and anyone interested in eco engineering solutions and climate resilient infrastructures. You will find a simplified concepts, student friendly language, and a strong connection between theory and practice. What to expect? You can expect a weekly videos on different topics which insights to different practical as well as real time problems, mini lectures, explainer videos, and real project samples. So, I promise that it will excite you. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. Final note and call to action. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you find this content helpful or interesting, please like, comment, and subscribe to support this initiative. And don't forget, drop your questions and topic suggestion in the comment. Let's learn civil engineering together, one concept at a time. Welcome to the first video. Hi everyone, welcome to this channel, your learning hub for all things related to civil engineering. In today's video, we are kicking off a new topic, Introduction to Wastewater Engineering. So whether you are preparing for an exam or just want to strengthen your basics, this video will give you a clear understanding of what wastewater is, its importance, and where it fits in a broader field of environmental engineering. Let's start with the basic, but it is very important concept. Sanitation is all about protecting public health. It means preventing the irregular spread of diseases that can affect the general population. Sanitary engineering is a specialized field in civil engineering. It focuses on the collection, conveyance, treatment, and safe disposal of wastewater. This helps in creating an hygienic environment, especially in urban planning and public health. Moving on to the sewerage, it refers to the entire infrastructure that carries sewage or even surface runoff like rainwater, stormwater, and melted snow through a network of sewers. And sewerage system includes various components such as drains, manholes, pumping station, overflow systems, and screening chamber. So these all work together safely, transport and sometimes treat wastewater before it reaches treatment plants or is discharged. So in short, while sewage refers to the waste itself and the sewerage refers to the network that carries it. Next is the different stages of sanitary engineering projects. Collections of sewage. So, this is the first and foremost stage. It involves gathering both solid and liquid waste, also known as sewage, from both households and industries. The goal here is to collect it efficiently before it causes public health issues. Next is the conveyance of sewage. So once the sewage is collected, it must be transported safely to the treatment plant. This is done using pipes and sewer systems. So the key idea is to move it without polluting the environment. And the third stage is the treatment of sewage. Here it is the heart of the process. The sewage is treated to remove harmful substances. This treatment is done in three levels. One is preliminary and primary treatment, where we can remove all large solids and suspended particles, and secondary treatment by using biological processes to bring down organic matters. And last, it is tertiary or advanced treatment. So here we will adopt further purifying processes for reuse and discharge. And the last stage in a sanitary engineering project is disposal of sewage. So finally, the treated sewage is safely disposed of. It can be released into the sea, onto the land, or reused for the things like irrigation and landscaping. This must be done without harming the environment. Now, we are going to see about what are the different objectives of sanitary engineering and why it is important and what it aims to achieve. Here, sanitary engineering is not just about managing waste. It plays a huge role in protecting public health and the environment. So, let's see what are the major objectives of sanitary engineering. So, the first is to maintain a clean environment. So, here it is to protect our surrounding from the harmful effect of sewage as well as the waste. Next, to prevent pollution of land and water bodies. If a sewage is dumped directly on the land or in the river or lake, it pollutes the water and harms the ecosystem. Sanitary engineering will prevent that. Next, to protect against disease carrying insects and bacteria, where stagnant sewage becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes, flies, and harmful bacteria. So, proper sanitation keeps this health risk away. And last, to dispose of human waste safely, where human excreta, if left exposed, starts decomposing and creates unsanitary and smelly condition. So we use safe systems like septic tanks. Overall, sanitary engineering is all about protecting people, water, land, and air from pollution caused by the improper waste disposal. Effect of sewage on the environment. Let's now talk about a very important concern. What happens when sewage is not treated properly? Is untreated sewage can seriously damage the environment. Let's now understand how it happens. First, it spreads diseases. When sewage carries harmful bacteria and viruses, if it's get into drinking water or living spaces, it can cause deadly diseases like cholera, typhoid, and hepatitis. And second, it affects aquatic life. When wastewater is dumped directly into the river or pond, it pollutes the water and kills fishes and other aquatic organisms by reducing oxygen levels. And next is ecological damages. So sewage can harm the ecosystem. It destroys plant life and disturbs the balance of nature by introducing toxic substances. And next is a public health issue. It is not only just a waterborne diseases but even a foul smells and breeding of flies and mosquitoes around sewage area creates health hazards. And Next is an economic clauses. Polluted water affects agricultural area, fishing area, and tourism industries. Cleaning polluted areas are also cost as lot of money. And last is an increased population. It doesn't just stop at a water. Improper sewage disposals leads to land pollution and even air pollution due to methane and bad odor. That's why proper sewage treatment is not just an technical process, it is essential for a healthy society and a sustainable future. Types of waste. So the first is liquid waste. This includes wastewater from homes, industry, stormwater drains. It can contain harmful chemicals, oils, or organic matters. If not treated, it pollutes river and groundwater. Example is a wastewater flowing from a factory into the drain as shown in the figure. And next is solid waste. So this is most visible form of waste like plastics, bags, papers, leftover foods and household garbages. It collects in landfills and causes land and area pollution if not managed. So here you can see an huge garbage dump with a bulldozer working on it. And next is e-waste. It is nothing but an electronic waste. So this is one of the fast growing type of waste. It includes discarded electronics like mobile phones, computers, TVs and etc. So these contains harmful metals like lead and mercury that pollutes the environment if not recycled properly. Next type of waste is demolition waste. So this type of waste comes from a construction or demolition of building. It includes bricks, concrete, metal pieces, woods and other building debris. If not handled properly, it clogs landfill and create physical hazards. And next is biomedical waste. This is waste generated from hospitals, clinics and labs. It includes syringes, gloves, medicines and human tissues. If not disposed safely, it can spread infection and disease. So in the image, you can see a large collection of syringes and medical container. So this is one of the major biohazard if not treated. And last type of waste is hazardous waste. So these are highly dangerous waste such as chemicals, bacteria, oil cans, paints, acids, and pesticides. So they are toxic, flammable, and reactive and must be treated in special facilities. So the colorful container in the image shows a different kind of hazardous households and industrial chemicals. So whether it's from hospital or a factory or a construction type sites, each type of waste require a specific disposal methods to protect people and the planet. We know the types of waste. Let's see how they are managed properly using color codes, especially in hospitals and municipalities. So the World Health Organization has recommended a color code system for developing countries to safely segregate and dispose of waste. So this ensures we do not mix hazardous material with general waste. So the first is a red. It used for highly contaminated waste. So material contaminated with blood or body tissues. Next, yellow. This is for pathological and most infectious waste, which includes body parts, tissues, and biological sample. And some sharp objects like needles, blades and syringes. So these are very dangerous and must be safely handled. And the brown for chemicals and pharmaceuticals and expired medicines and lab chemicals. Silver, it indicates a radioactive waste like X-ray units and cancer treatment machines. And black, it's for general waste, normal trashes that does not possess health risks. So in addition to this, We can also have three main things. One is green, so where dry waste like paper, plastics can be disposed, and blue, wet waste like food scraps, and yellow, red, blue, green, often used for plastic, metals, paper, glass, recycling, etc. So using the right bin means the right disposal, which helps protect sanitation worker and reduce pollution and improving recycling. Next, we will move on to characteristics and composition of sewage. So there are three characteristics. The first is physical characteristics, chemical characteristic, and biological characteristics. Under physical characteristics, we have color, odor, temperature, turbidity, and solid contents. Color of sewage. Fresh domestic sewage is usually grey in color because it contains soap and organic matters. As it starts to decompose or undergo purification, a color turns black due to the microbial activity. Septic sewage, which is stored without oxygen, also turn dark or black. Industrial wastewater color depends on chemicals used in the factory processes. And next is odor of sewage. Fresh sewages as a musty odor which may not be too bad initially, but within 3 to 4 hours oxygen gets used up and anaerobic bacteria starts producing hydrogen sulfide and sulfate, causing a rotten egg smell. These offensive odors can cause loss of appetite, reduced water consumption, and breathing issues, nausea, or even vomiting. So, eliminating odor is a major factor in sewage treatment plant design. The next, physical characteristics, temperature. Did you know wastewater is usually hotter than our regular water supply? This happens because it flows through closed pipes or conduits, keeping up heat from the surrounding environment. As a result, the temperature of a wastewater typically stays around 20 degrees Celsius, which is perfect for biological activity, including bacteria that helps in treatment. However, this is also increase the viscosity and enhance bacterial activity, which could be good or bad thing depending on the situation. Let's see what are the characteristics the temperature affects of the wastewater. First is the increased viscosity. Hotter water becomes thicker and making particles settle faster. Next is the sedimentation issue at low temperature. At cold temperature, sedimentation becomes less effective. And the third is the bacterial activity. Bacteria work more actively up to 60 degrees Celsius, beyond which their activity drops. Gas solubility drops, which is nothing but as the water heats, gases like dissolved oxygen escapes, reducing self-purification of river. And the next is aquatic life. The temperature raises directly affects fish and aquatic species. Last, it is algae and fungus. High heat encourages undesirable growth like fungi and unwanted aquatic weeds. Turbidity refers to how cloudy wastewater is. It depends on solid and suspension. More solid is equal to more turbidity. And turbidity tells us how clean or dirty the water is, especially colloidal content. It measures using a turbidity rod or a Jackson turbidity meter. High turbidity means stronger and untreated sewage. Finally, let's talk about solids in sewage. Sewage is all about 99.9 percentage of water and just 0.1 percentage of solids. But that small percentage matters a lot. Solids are in three forms. One is suspendable, which is a visible particle, and next is a colloidal, which is a tiny floating particles, and third one is a dissolved, which is fully blended. Suspended particles are further classified into settleables, which can sink down, and not settlable, which can float. Treating solids is a key for any sewage treatment, emphasizing the surprising fact is that only 0.1 percentage of solids yet they can cause big problem in an environment. Let's explore the chemical characteristics of wastewater. These helps to understand its impact on the environment and the treatment required. First is pH value. It tells us if the water is acidic or neutral or alkaline. Ideally, it should be between 6.5 to 8.5 by biological treatment to work efficiently. And the next is the chloride content. If the chloride levels are usually high, which comes from an industrial effluent or saline intrusion, it can affect aquatic life as well as the soil quality. The next is the nitrogen content. Usually, wastewater contains high amount of ammonia and nitrates. If released untreated, this leads to algal bloom and oxygen depletion in water body. And the next is fat, grease and oil. So these substances mainly clog pipelines and interfere with biological processes. These can also create surface film that block oxygen transfer. And the next thing is sulfide, sulfate and hydrogen sulfide. So here sulfides are toxic and causes foul odors, especially H2S gas which smells like a rotten eggs. The next is a DO. It is called dissolved oxygen. It is a crucial for aquatic organism. Low DO in a wastewater indicates heavy pollution and poor self-purification. COD, it's a chemical oxygen demand. This measures how much oxygen is needed to chemically oxidize organic matter. It is quick test to assess pollution load. Next is a BOD. It is a biochemical oxygen demand. It tells us the amount of oxygen bacteria needs to break down organic waste over time. So usually BOD is done on day 1 and day 5. And last is stability and relative stability. So this shows how likely the wastewater is to go for septic. More stable wastewater resist rapid decay and odor formation. All these parameters helps engineers design appropriate treatment system and protect the environment. And the last topic is biological characteristics of wastewater. This refers to the microorganism present in the wastewater. It plays a major role in its decomposition and treatment. Based on their type, they are classified into three main categories. One is aquatic plants, aquatic animals, and aquatic molds, bacteria, and viruses. Aquatic plants, these includes microscopic algae and other plant-like organisms that might use nutrient from sewage to grow. Excessive growth can lead to eutrophication. And next is aquatic animals. Small invertebrates like protozoa, worms, and crustaceans can be present. These present often indicates the condition and quality of water. And last is aquatic molds, bacteria and viruses. These are most crucial. Bacteria helps in breaking down organic matters through biological process like anaerobic and aerobic digestion. Virus and pathogens, if untreated, poses health risk to humans and animals. Molds may develop in stagnant and nutrient-rich condition. Monitoring these organisms is essential in wastewater treatment to ensure effective purification and prevent health hazards. So, understanding the biological makeup of sewage is key to designing systems that protect both public health and the environment. Next, we are going to see what are the sources of different characteristics of wastewater. First is the physical characteristics. We have already discussed what are the physical characteristics, but we are going to see what are the different sources of different physical characteristics. The first is a color. The color is the main sources of from domestic, industrial wastewater, natural dyes of organic materials. In order, decomposing wastewater and industrial wastewater. And the third thing is a domestic water supply, soil erosion, etc. And moving on to the chemical characteristics, here we have organic and inorganic compounds. So under organic like carbohydrates, and fats, oils, and grease. The main sources are from domestic, commercial, and industrial waste. Next is the pesticides. It is from agricultural waste, and phenol and surfactants are from industrial as well as domestic waste. And moving on to the next thing is inorganic characteristics like alkalinity, chloride, and nitrogen. So these are generally from domestic water supply and agricultural waste. And gases like H2S and methane or decomposition of domestic wastes. And third one is a biological characteristics. So we have seen what are aquatic plants and animals. So the sources of both plants and animals are open water source and treatment plants. And viruses are mostly from domestic waste. And we can also see the impacts and effects of wastewater constituents. One is suspended solids. So we can able to find out what are the parameters from the pollutants. So one is volatile compounds, settlable and suspended and colloidal impurities. So the impacts or the effects of the wastewater when we have pollutants like suspendeds are development of sludge deposits causing anaerobic conditions and plugging of irrigation equipments and systems such as sprinklers. And next is biodegradable organics. So which we have COD and BOD, so which is nothing but depletion of DO in a surface water and development of septic condition, and also we can make the unsuitable habitat and environment which causes the fish mortality rate. And next is a pollutant called heavy metals. Under heavy metals, we have zinc, lead, cadmium, and so on. So here, bioaccumulation in fishes and takes place and toxic to plants and animals and possible health impacts and make wastewater unsuitable for irrigations. And the next thing is hydrogen ion concentration, so which refers to a parameter called pH, and this is possible an adverse impact on plant growth due to acidity and alkalinity. And next pollutant is a residual chlorine. It is both free and combined chlorine, ground as well as surface water contamination, which leads to greenhouse effect. And the next thing is stable organic like phenol, pesticides, chlorated hydrocarbons are the parameters where it is toxic to the environment and makes wastewater unsuitable for irrigation. The next thing is pathogens. Here comes the parameter like viruses and bacteria. It causes communicable diseases. So here are few pollutants and the parameters which in turn gives the impact as well as the effects of wastewater constitute. And we can also able to find out what are the different parameters with their inland surface water rate as well as public sewer and land for irrigation and marine coastal area. So there are regulatory standards for discharge of wastewater and the effluent from the treatment units. In an upcoming classes, we can able to learn about what are the regulatory standards for the discharge of wastewater as well as the effluent with different case studies. Thank you. In an upcoming session, we will explore how these characteristics influence treatment technologies and what parameters are monitored in real world sewage treatment plant. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you found this session useful. Feel free to drop your questions and comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts and clarify any doubts. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Remember, good wastewater management begins with a clear understanding of its characteristics. Until next time, keep learning and stay aware. Thank you.